past 5 days.
Yeah, it dropped off yesterday like a bunch. It dropped from like 35.90 or something down to 33.45. Now it's currently at 33.27. That's a pretty big deal. They had to have missed earnings. That's a big deal, man, because they just kind of finally just shot back up in the last, I don't know, 15 days or so. They were kind of just fading sideways.
Right.
For a while. Now they popped up and now they went right back down. So that's kind of neat. How about, is there anybody that had like really good earnings and good forward guidance that went down? Does anybody track earnings very much?
Not from my company. We pretty much like a lot of long positions because we expect that the earnings would go to shit for a lot of companies, and we don't want to risk that anymore. To what I see is that I've been tracking Apple, and they have been dealing with bonds as of late, which is not surprising. We're also looking at, there's an important deadline tomorrow, which is the government's debt ceiling, which will expire tomorrow, and they would have to either suspend it again or raise the debt limit of the government, in which that Congress has been fairly really silent about it because it expires tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big deal. What else do I? Let me look at my watch list.
Also, we have the risk of evictions, right?
Yeah, that ends tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's what I believe too. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the moratorium's up tomorrow, 31st, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So give it like another month or so before we start seeing eviction notices and shit.
Very likely.
Yeah, SRS is still trading about $15. REK is still trading at about $8, so nothing really big change there that I see. It has gone up the last couple of days. No,
we could see that the month of August would be a bit somewhat more volatile than this month. This month has been, very uneventful.
Right. Yeah, and usually the summer months are usually kind of boring. Like they say, get out in May and get back in the fall, right? Like, typically, like last year was a weird year because we were doing, we were bouncing back. Last March we took a dive, and so the market was fighting its way back during the summer months last year. So it was a pretty active summer. But this year it's kind of, I think I heard that usually August is like a down month. Like most historically, it's a pretty bad slow month, and the indexes go down. And this year we were up on the indexes, so that's a good sign. But yeah, they're just slow months. I think August is going to be good. I'm not August, just July. So like July is usually a pretty weird month. And she's having a hard time.
Yeah, she is.
I think when I first chopped on, I didn't have any problems at all. She's on her phone.
Yeah, she's in the right place. She just can't hear us for some reason.
Right. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up, or do you want to just keep rambling about whatever? Or us keep rambling about whatever? Sorry.
mine's pretty blank.
Yeah, I cannot think like something like very, very interesting that has been happening this week. I haven't checked the market trends, but the overall market has been not been doing so well this month.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've had a few scares. VIX has come up and come down and come up and come down. I mean, SQQ, it's for $8 a share. It's nothing too concerned about. What's UVX one? UVX, 28.50. That's nothing to be concerned about. It's been going down since it split not too long ago. I think it had a 10-for-1 split, and it's still, I think it was trading for like 30 cents or something, and now it's trading at 28. So I think it just keeps going down, which is good for the markets. Anybody have any like stocks they're looking at for next week, or anybody want to bring up any questions?
Metamaterials.
We're going to be waiting for metamaterials till I think we'll probably hear something. Second week of August. I think we'll have an earnings report. Earnings report usually around the 10th, the 9th, somewhere in there. I haven't seen like an official announcement anywhere yet though, but I'm pretty sure we will see something in that area. Samsung Fold 11, unpacking on the 11th, I would like to watch. If I'm not someplace where I don't have service. But that's something I would keep a watch on is the new Samsung Fold 3. Their screens are supposed to be like, they're not supposed to break like the last ones did. And I can't say 100% that metamaterials is involved, but I think that they are. I think this might be part of, I don't know how long you've been tracking Kringle metamaterials, but George has been trying to like, I don't know if you've heard the term of like torch the shorts from back when metamaterials was Torchlight.
Yes, I heard the term, but I didn't understand the reference. So.
Yeah, so torch the shorts in reference was like, at one point he posted a tweet of some shorts. On one side it had Torchlight because that was the company before Meta, and the Torchlight symbol, and there were some badass shorts. And somebody brought up the idea of torch the shorts, and he was kind of like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, because he's been wanting to, he's known that he knew that MMAT, the Canadian stock, was getting shorted. He knew that Torchlight was getting shorted, and it's been like a big play for them to get like, they want to see a squeeze as well. Like and I think that's why he hasn't said a whole lot, because he can't. He wants to wait for the news to be able to come out to actually make this happen. So it's been like a long play since I've been in it since December, and I'm just kind of I overbought, got too overzealous, and whatever else, but whatever. But it's been like a play, and he's been talking about it for a very long time. So I really think that the short squeeze is still possible because of the special dividend preferred A shares. But yeah, I just, it's been a thing for a while. I'm in some other Discord groups, and that's all they talk about. And there's a lot of people, there's a lot of retail in the stock that is holding. I mean, if you look at, like, on my brokerage, Moomoo, there's a lot of guys in there that just are holding. A lot of them are like me. They're down like 60% or more. And retail just keeps holding. So I think, like, that huge drop-off, I don't know if you did any research on this either, Kringle, but George had he had a lot of debt, right? And so they were, he kept making pitches to banks and stuff, and selling shares to the banks to cover for loans and everything. And so once Meta hit like $10 a share and finally pitched over to Meta Materials, all of those banks and everybody sold off all their shares because they were in at like 70 cents. And the stock was at like 10, so they had made a shit ton of money. And I think that's what that big sell-off was once we actually finally became MMAT. I mean, obviously, I think some retail sold out as well on the way down, but I think a lot of those people are going to buy back in. And I think they have been because, you know, it seems like we want to hold 340 pretty well in that range the last few days. You know, let's see. I think 340 has kind of been like a good resistance for us over the last few days, maybe just the last few days. I haven't really researched the stock, the chart much, but yeah, I think that's we're doing pretty good there.
It can stay there for a few days. I just put some more money in my account, so.
Yeah, I think we have another week or so of sideways trading, and then I think earnings report, maybe Samsung unboxing could bring in, if it's what I think is going to happen. I think I could bring in some big buyers as well. I mean, I've been seeing some big numbers go across the screen on the bid side, so kind of like need to look into institutional ownership. Sorry, I'm like blanking out. Institutional ownership of the stock as well pretty soon here. I just don't have a lot of time on my hands anymore like I used to. But I have seen some pretty big buys for sure.
And these aren't your overzealous buys, just to be sure, right?
Overzealous buys.
No, these big buys you were talking about, I assume they're not your overzealous buys again?
They're not buys again? I can't hear you, dude.
But
Metamaterials to the moon, okay? How about that? Metamaterials to the moon in mid-August. No guarantees.
got a question on text for you guys that know.
I can't hear you, Hoosier.
I was gonna say you got a question down in text for those people that know the answer.
Hi, can you please explain what it means to see these record high reverse repo numbers and what it may signal for the near future for the economy? I am not a reverse repo. Ringo?
Essentially, the reverse repo. So we have two sides. So we have the banks and the central bank, right? So essentially, is that reverse repo are, siphoning the liquidity away from the banks, right? Because the banks have too much liquidity, $1 trillion at a given time. So they're siphoning $1 trillion away. So usually the reverse repo market, they are overnight operations. At that given time, is $1 trillion being siphoned out and being parked overnight, right? And that means that it tells us that the banks they don't know what to do with this money, and they pay interest on it, and they have to park it somewhere else in order to receive treasury bonds. So that's what a reverse repo market means.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's just a very, very, very short explanation, the basics, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you understand, the underlying problem with the banks is that most of that cash, even they don't know what to do with it, are facing not the liquidity issue. They have tons of liquidity, but most of that liquidity is being used as a collateral anyway to maintain their positions. But considering that they have a surplus of that liquidity to be used in collateral, well, the problem is they're paying interest on them. It's like a deposit, right? So they pay interest. So in order to protect and allowing the bank to cool off a bit, right, to make sure that they don't pay enough, they don't want to pay those interests over time. So that's why they want to park it and and allow them to have some leeway, even if it's overnight, to resume their operations in a very smoother way. But of course, they get treasury bonds, but the banks, they know that the bonds are negative. So what they're gonna do? Eventually, they're gonna short them to collect the premiums. Eventually, and use the premiums of the bonds as a collateral to keep their position. So it's like a game of musical chair, but on a national scale, basically.
Right. One more quick question. Deuces Wild asked, they only hold the reverse repo money for 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah,
It's only an overnight operation. So when you see that $1 trillion, so it's like $1 trillion that was transacted and done overnight.
That's crazy.
And tomorrow it might be like 800 billion, or it could be like Monday, it could be 900 billion or something. But it seems that the trend has been increasing over time because the banks say they don't know what to do with this money.
Give it to me.
I wish. I wish.
Right. Okay, guys, I figured out how to show requests for questions. So if anybody wants to hop up here and ask a question via voice, they're more than welcome to. Or you can just keep writing them in the Trade Talk chat as well.
I'm watching YouTube if there's any questions as well.
How many viewers do we have over there?
Number 9.
9 of them. Hey, that's pretty decent for not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't do anything at all day long. It's great.
I know that. You're always messing around with your OBS or something.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
What's up, Antimatter?
Antimatter here. I had a kind of a different topic I wanted to bring up to the group. A couple of weeks ago, I remember a discussion that the group had around like the housing market in general, and there was discussion around what we were all seeing like in the housing market, prices, etc. The point I just wanted to bring up, maybe we folks on to share any observations you have made, but 2 days ago, it was announced that the amount of pending home sales for the month of June declined by 1.9%, and economists were actually forecasting that pending home sales were actually going to increase by 0.3%. So what we're seeing is pending home sales are starting to decline. And I'm in the Chicagoland area. What I've also noticed is that I'm starting to receive emails from Redfin. And over the last 2 weeks, what I have started to notice is houses and condos are starting to have prices be reduced. So, over the last 6 months, the housing prices were just skyrocketing. But what I'm starting to see, even from Redfin, is that it seems like there's starting to be a slowdown, and in fact, actually, the prices are starting to come down. I'm sensing that the music is starting to stop, so to speak. I'm curious if anyone else has any data points that you might be noticing some of the same. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Unfortunately, our housing market guru, Kenna, hasn't been doing so well, so she's not available. I actually need to catch up with her. I haven't talked to her for like days.
Yeah, I was seeing some of her tweets.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at her tweets or anything. I just know that she's going through a lot of stuff. And I love the girl, and I need to reach out to her for sure. She's definitely our housing market girl for sure. You know, I noticed that like lumber's come down from its like all-time highs of like 93 or whatever. I know materials are still going up. I'm confused on how the housing pricing can go down when materials to build a house are still freaking crazy. Like I can't even get plumbing materials for a construction site within like a few weeks anymore. Like I have to wait like 6 weeks, 2 months for some of my stuff just to come in. So I think that they're starting to see. Honestly, like I don't see how housing can go down just because there's no place for anybody to live, unless they're expecting a housing crisis because of I always have a hard time saying it, the moratoriums or whatever that are ending. I really think that could be a huge catalyst, obviously. You're going to have that end. You're going to have a lot of people get evicted because they haven't paid their rent. They're not working, you know. There's actually, I heard the jobs report today, or was that yesterday? Maybe that was yesterday. Jobs report was like not great. We actually have more jobs out there than people are on unemployment. So there's more jobs that are out there than people on unemployment. That's a big deal. Like people need to get off the couch and back to work if they can, right? Like, so I think that plays a role in it as well. Like people are just staying home, collecting free cash, expecting the government to just keep them afloat, which is going to end eventually, right? I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen with the Delta variant, but it's been getting talked about more and more. I think one day we had a kind of a scare and the market kind of took a dive, and then the next day we were right back up again and pushed for like all-time highs. So Jay Klink wrote down, I have some very minimal and slight reductions, but only had like 4K on a $765,000 house, so not much. Majority are still selling quick though, and that's big in itself. Yeah, I mean, like my house, I bought my house for $450. It's valued at like $530 now, and I don't see it going down. But it doesn't matter because I'm not moving. But yeah, I think that the whole people are going to get evicted, man. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get nasty. Hedge funds are going to keep buying housing like they have been, like BlackRock did back in 07, 08, I believe is when it was. They're doing it again because they know people are going to need houses and they know that they can hold on to them because they have the money to. And in my area, it's pretty nasty, man. Like I bought my house for $450,000, and there's not even my closest grocery store is at least 7 miles away. Same with the convenience store or anything else. I live in a little community, and there's probably 150, 200 houses out here, and they're all about the same price. They're all lower than I live on the lake that's here, and everybody else kind of is around me, but it's crazy. Like these houses were going for $200,000 10 years ago. So long term, the houses are going to be worth more in the future with some bumps in the road, obviously, right?
Right, and what I'm hearing, Tyson, is that you have $100K of equity to throw at MMAT, right?
No.
What? Sorry.
Yeah, I can't do that right now. Oh, you know what? Hopefully that answered your question enough, antimatter. I really wish Ken was here to help with that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was kind of asked just polling the group. Yeah, it's something I'm definitely going to just be a little more cognizant of going into August. to see if I start seeing more like pricing reductions, etc. Because yeah, again, I'm just putting it out there. I'm sensing that the music might be starting to stop. Not saying it stopped completely, but I'm starting to just get some feelers that it might be. So I'm curious if anyone, as we go into August, if anyone else happens to come across the same.
Am I speaking? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you are. Yes, we are.
I'm a real estate broker in Tampa, Florida. I got some insight for you guys.
Bring it on, Frankster.
First thing about the BlackRock and their moves right now. For the kitten and one of the other guys in our group, I've been building a review of the tri-county area I live in, which is Tampa, Florida. And yes, you are starting to see some moves with them, but you're also starting to see them sell some of their property, which is probably a first in our area. The other thing is, as to materials versus house pricing, real estate is so localized that it's really difficult to put your finger on pricing something as to the price of the material. Material's harder to get, but in an area like Pinellas County, Florida, where there's minimal land mass to build on, their prices keep going, and they're actually tearing down houses to build new. So your real estate questions are really going to be controlled by the areas you're in, like Chicagoland. It's brutal right now. I have several friends that work there, and one was actually here on vacation this week. They're moving into REO mode, which is real estate owned by banks. They're really believing they're going to be running into a moratorium leaving and an inundation of property. Besides being a real estate broker, I'm an appraiser. And the one thing I'm realizing right now is, just like Pringle talks about the stocks and the bonds, the banks are still manipulating the appraisers. They've worked really hard to stop it, but it's still happening. Especially when you're dealing with these hedge funds, because they're self-financed. They're not controlled by the price of the appraiser. They're controlled by the price they want. And in this marketplace, they're really driving a lot of these prices in these areas because it's their choice to. I'll have this report, Kitten, in a couple days, and I think you'll be really interested in it because it's really going to show you the diversion of BlackRock now growing their product by massing out to different factors that people didn't realize are BlackRock. But guys, thanks for letting me talk. I hope everybody's hanging in there, and good luck next week.
Thanks for the info, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's awesome. Yeah, like my area, I live near Vail, Colorado. Yeah, I was seeing the same thing. People are tearing down old houses, rebuilding.
You might be in one of the hottest markets in the country right now.
Yeah, I bought my house a few years ago, so I'm lucky. But yeah, it's crazy insane up here right now.
It's a weird area because we are now in that mode of who wants to live. You want to be close to a centralized area, but you don't want to be surrounded by people. Those areas in Colorado are just blossoming. And truthfully, of what everybody uses the word equity, I like to use the word assumed equity because it's not equity until you sell the property. You're in one of those areas that I expect to keep growing. You're probably in a very nice, safe area. The guy in Chicagoland, not so much.
Yeah, I'm about 45 minutes from Vail, and I grew up here. I've been here most of my life, and the money just come from Vail working its way down the valley year after year after year, just watching housing get more expensive and more expensive and more expensive. So yeah, I totally understand. It's another big market, I think, is Idaho, right, Prankster?
Absolutely. It is a market where some of the big money's moving to. And it's more of the concept of, I want to be able to grow my own food. I'm tired of the city. I can work from home. There's a lot of things happening in Idaho. Also, Iowa is incredibly hot. Iowa City around the college area is nuclear busy. So when everybody's talking real estate, you've really got to talk your locale because it's really the controlling factor of value. It's like owning a condo in Miami, Florida. Good luck with that right now.
Right.
It's just a matter of where you're at. One suggestion that I give everybody when I talk real estate, people, everybody talks about location, location, location. I really don't. I like people to think of conformity of what you have. Like you mentioned, I'm on a lake and other people aren't. Well, when you look at that, that adds so much value to your property. But when you deal in a mass property, like you said, I'm surrounded by 200 houses, work an average. Don't say, I'm just superior. Build an average to square footage, bedroom, bathroom. It will really help you feel out your numbers. But yeah, you're blessed in Colorado right now. It's a great market.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought it up. You know, when I bought this house, I was the only house that had a 3-car garage. It's 2.5-car garage, 3.5-car garage. There's nobody else. Some people finally bought some open lots at the end of the area here because they're finally filling in all the slots, and they actually have 3-car garages and they have the same kind of build out as my house. So that kind of helps my gauging, right? Looking at everybody else, their houses are usually 50 to 75,000 less than mine. But they have a lot of different models here. There's a lot of different things going on. So I'm glad you bring that up. You know, like I said, it helps me to have these other houses that look kind of like mine, bigger garages, so that way they'll appraise my house a little better, right? So that's
Absolutely.
Great.
The one moment you want to look at, and I suggest to everybody, is look up. There's really 3 principles of economics you're going to use. It's the principle of conformity. If you have an apple and an apple, and they're the same apple, well, there's a conformity there. It's easy to assess their value. Because if one apple's 50 cents and one's $1, which apple are you going to buy if they're identical? Well, the same thing happens in real estate. And it's really one of those things, when a market gets hot, everybody gets so emotionally tied into. Well, sometimes you have to step back with that investor mindset and look at it and say, okay, my conformity, I conform to that. Because one thing you may have to be careful of is over improvement. I have a house, 3.5-car garage, I'm on a lake, I'm big, bad, and beautiful. Well, in an appraiser's mind, he may say, oh, you're over improved for the area. These other houses, you don't conform to them. Come on back. They actually take value away from your house. So there's a real balance there. And the last one that you've really got to watch, and it goes back to the material question I heard earlier that got me interested in help talking, was there's cost, there's value, and there's market value. And it's what you can get right now, the actual cost of creating what we call sticks and bricks. Well, the one thing that people don't take into the heart of hearts when they look at stuff is the entrepreneurial aspect of creating homes. That is generally a 30% markup. So when you look at the overall value of when you look at sticks and bricks during 2008, you couldn't get the foundations built for what we were buying houses for. So it's just one of those things as we move forward, hopefully we get the squeeze, hopefully Kitten sends us all a bunch of money because he's going to be rich, it's going to be awesome, and we're all going to sit back and be shopping for bigger and better investment houses and things of that nature. The goal will be, where do you want to be? It's the location of the market, the tribal aspect of where you're at, like in Vail, Colorado, one of the hottest markets, one of the richest markets in the country. So good luck with all that. And guys, thanks for letting me talk. I'm ready to listen some more. Take care.
Thank you, my friend. It's been very informative, man.
Yeah, agreed. Thanks for the insight.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, I don't live in Vail. I live far enough away that I'm not a billionaire, okay? So.
I mean, for all we know, you could be a billionaire plumber. It would not be outside the realm of possibility.
Hey, dude, I just got a raise.
They've got to put the peasants somewhere.
Right. They got to have the plumber work. They got to give me a house somewhere so I can come work on their mansions, right? And they're right now. I'm working on a Marriott that's upgrading to a 5-star, and it's a freaking mess. But I mean, that's what I do for a living. I go and work at hotels and hospitals. I just got done remodeling addition to a massive addition to the Vale Health Hospital. I was on that project for like 3 years. You know, like that's what I do. They don't pay me enough to own in the same place that I'm working in. Let's just put it that way. I did get a fat raise on Tuesday though, so I'm happy about that.
But would you want to live in a hospital? I don't think that sounds very appealing.
Dude, it's a nice hospital. I just got done building it, man. Like, yeah, it's a beautiful hospital. You'd be surprised.
Sounds like I need to move.
Yeah, obviously, you need to move somewhere near Vale, but not in Vale, because you can't afford Vale.
All right, well, I'll move the family office to Vale, and we can discuss from there, man.
Yeah, and I know you have more money than I do, and I know you can't afford Vale.
That's accurate. I don't know about the more money, but the accurate of not affording Vale. That's spot on.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody else have anything else they want to bring up? Awesome.
I do have a question from YouTube from D. If anyone, let's see. She's asking about thoughts on Nokia. She was thinking more of a long-term play. I just wondered what y'all thought.
Nokia, one of the meme stocks, right? Everybody calls dirty stock meme stock now.
Yeah, that's one of the dirty dozen, I think. I don't know much about it. I haven't followed it. But I'm hoping someone else here has some info. If not, I know I can send her to someone that does.
Yeah, I haven't been tracking Nokia. Like I used to. I really don't have anything on it really myself.
I have 400 shares, and it hasn't moved at all. It's pretty dull.
It could be worse.
Tell me. So I haven't sold. I'm just holding on to it. I feel like it's a meme stock, and if it follows like I think it's going to follow, it will go when the rest of them go.
Right. I mean, not too long ago, it had somewhat of a short squeeze, it looks like. From $2 to $5, that's no big deal. Then back down to $3, and I mean it's pretty an upward trend. That's always a good sign, but it's not like a massive upward trend. It's gone from like 472 to 601 in probably like a month and a half. Just looking at the chart real quick. I hate that we talk on this stage sometimes because I can't bring up those chart and explain to you guys what I'm looking at for technical analysis. And that's more of what I like to really enjoy doing. I also like to deep dive into GDs as well. You know, it's hard for me to show you guys charts inside this chat room because I can't share my screen. So,
I'm told they have a lot of back-end support equipment for 5G infrastructure. So, you know, maybe as a longer-term play, if that's accurate, it would make sense.
I agree with that statement. Back when I was looking at it months ago, they were getting some partners and some stuff in with 5G. I can't remember who they were all working with, maybe Skyworks or something. But it's been so long that I can't give out accurate information at this point, but I know that they were working on 5G, and I think they were starting to get some more partners in the United States. And I think there was what's the Chinese stock that Huawei, is that what it was? Huawei?
Yeah, that was the one that they had contracts and then we canceled them because of homeland security concerns.
Right. And I think Nokia might have picked up some of that as well, but I can't say that 100% uh, uh, with with conviction at all. But I do think they have a long term, very long term. I think Nokia could still be a player for sure.
Two Card Arsenal said he had a very serious question. He wants to know if they've covered yet.
What? Yeah, I covered the car with a car cover the other day.
I think he was talking more about Kenny covering, etc.
I think that's more your expertise, isn't it? Citadel Air.
He's my former boss. I since I quit. I mentioned that on Twitter earlier today.
Well, if you follow me at all on Twitter, you know that I don't do Twitter much.
I didn't
So,
I, I didn't actually know you had a Twitter account. That's funny. I'll look you up later.
Oh, great. Memes incoming of me. Watch out.
Hey, I actually put out reliable information with memes as well. Like it's a 50-50 give and take. Come on now.
So, shorts covering, I'm guessing, is what he's talking about. I would say GME, no, they haven't covered. AMC, no, they haven't covered. MMAT, no, they haven't covered. Uh, that's all that's off the top of my head.
Yeah, if I could add my 2 cents, I think it's difficult for anyone to really give a definitive yes or no, have they covered?
Right.
What we would really just rely on is drawing a conclusion based on the information that we have available. And yeah, for the big name quote meme stocks like GME and AMC, all signs point to no, they have not covered. But yeah, it's really difficult to say definitively for any of the other meme or what I like to refer to them as momentum stocks.
Definitely agree. I don't have any other questions right now from YouTube.
Sorry, I had to go get some water real quick. Yeah, I agree with that, and we don't know how much the data is always kind of skewed anyway, as well with all the shorts and stuff. It just seems like it's really hard to track everything.
Did you get the? You requested dark pool data on MMAT, and did you get what I sent you?
Yeah, there was some buys at 7:30 like a while back, and that's it.
Yeah, it was like June 29th. I can look at large block trades for you, but in terms of like what they're calling, dark pools, there was only that singular transaction, and all the data I get is live.
Right. I mean, what I know that there's been some pretty decent large buys in the last couple of days, and it seemed to be keeping us above 430. I don't know if that's all small investors buying in once, or I have seen some pretty good sized block trades within the last week or so. You don't need to go in and search all of it. I know that there's people buying in pretty decent amounts at a time, and the other thing is that lately I've been seeing more and more FUD articles at MMAT, kind of like the same things we saw with AMC. Definitely not the same amount as we saw on AMC, but like yesterday, some guy said that the stock was worth 56 cents because cash on hand, and that's all you base the stock off of is cash on hand because they don't have any big partnerships or anything coming through the pipeline, which was 100% BS. They've already got partnerships with Airbus, and my mind just went blank, but they have a lot of big partnerships with a lot of big people. So, and the stock did just fine today. It didn't drop to 56 cents like he had predicted. If you guys, just keep your eyes open, think before you sell. Obviously, like you're going to see some articles that just want to try and scare you out of basically any of the stocks that you're in if you're holding any deep stocks. AMC, GME, Nokia, BlackBerry, Naked. I mean, they're kind of making it to where like any heavily shorted stock that goes up a little bit is a meme stock at this point. So it just the whole meme stock thing just drives me nuts. Citadel, have you looked at large buys recently or any 13Fs or anything from recently, seeing if anybody's been buying AMC at $38, $40 a share?
I've been capturing the data from the last couple of days, but I have not analyzed it. I can have an answer. I can't right this second because of the stream, but I can answer it once we're done, once we wrap up, and I can post it for you. The answer is, I think the answer is yes, but I would like to quantify my data before, so you have a more accurate picture. The answer is yes, but I'll give you actual, I'll be able to quantify it for you.
Right. The reason I ask, because I've seen some talking about it as well. If you have hedge funds buying at 38 and 40, they aren't buying in to hope the stock goes down. They're not buying shares because they think it's going to go down at this price. Being at I think it was at like 37 after hours, or I don't know if it closed any lower than that. Where is my AMC stock? Dividends, AMC. So we finished above. We finished the day at 37.02, and then after hours finished at 37.34. So I really don't think we're going to go. I mean, we were down. I need to get back to a different chart here. So I mean, our lows of the last few days we've gotten down to 34, gotten down to 30 not too long ago, 28. So we can still go down a little ways, but 37 is a good buying point if you're not already in. Just keep buying and holding, just like we've been saying since February, March, April, May, all the way to now. They're not just going to give you their money; they're going to fight. Anybody else have any questions? Want to talk about something else? Want to hear more about MMAT and all the products that I love?
There's nothing on YouTube except the standard when moon questions, which we covered. I mean,
My moon's up right now.
I'm sure you have another 6 hours worth of MMAT plugging to do. I don't know if I have that in me.
Hey man, I just want to get out the information about products, and I don't want people to think that this is a shitty company.
No, in all seriousness, no, I concur with you. I do joke around, but from what I've read and seeing some of their seminars, their webcasts, I think as a long term for me, it's going to be a long term hold. Obviously not financial advice. Do your own due diligence, trust but verify, yada yada, so on and so forth. To circle back, remember when you asked me to solicit them for a price quote?
Yeah.
They have not responded as of end of business today when I last checked my email. So
okay.
maybe they didn't think maybe they didn't think I was a real prospect. I will perhaps submit another one. But I was very much interested in their their pricing as you were.
Yeah, I would love to know how much you're selling that stuff for, man, for sure. I might as well do it myself. I kind of like the whole I'm a teacher, I want to research your product kind of way as well. So I might try and shoot an email with them. We're trying to figure out how much their NanoWeb is selling for per square inch. So we can try and figure out how much it might be worth if they're using NanoWeb inside of their inside of Samsung's Fold 3, because I think it's a pretty decent possibility that they are going to be having some sort of a product from MMAT inside the Samsung Fold 3. I actually did some research yesterday. I know you guys probably get sick of hearing about MMAT, but I was looking at Samsung had an earnings report the other day, and they were kind of saying that their last couple of quarters of cell phone sales have been down, and I think but they also were saying that with their new product line coming out, they are seeing interest in buying the new phones. They have to get over the hump of the last phone that didn't go so well that was a flip phone or a fold phone. So I think it might take some time for people to trust in the product, but it could be a good catalyst if MMAT does have some sort of a product inside the Samsung phones. So that's what we were just talking about there. So how do you guys usually do this at night? Do you guys give them like a final call? Like, do you have 5 minutes to give us one more question?
Yeah, generally speaking, I got a little bit of a late start because of my mixer failed, as you so kindly pointed out, Tyson. So we're about running up on time here, even with my late start. So if anyone else has any last questions, either YouTube or in the Discord, if you pop it in Discord, someone can check. I'm keeping an eye on YouTube. But I think that might do it for tonight, if pending anything new.
Okay, another one. Drew88, have you done more DD on ITRM? It fell hard after FDA non-approval, but yesterday it jumped up 30% and then dropped back down again today. I didn't follow it today. I did hear about the FDA thing. Let me look at the stock real quick. The chart. So yeah, I know we dropped down to like 67 cents. I bought more. It's kind of trending upward from that point. So with the FDA can be really party poopers, I assure you. Yeah, the FDA can be party poopers. So when you're in these kind of stocks, FDA can kind of screw with you. But we finished after hours at 81 cents. since the drop off, it's down to 67. That's pretty decent. Back, I think we were trading like $1.24 or so, down to 67, back up to 81. Honestly, I think if I remember correctly, yeah. So FDA approval was denied, but they asked for a second trial, which is pretty normal. If you only have one trial, they're usually going to ask you to do more trials. I don't think they had enough information on how the product worked with pregnant women and some other things. But the FDA didn't say, hey, we don't want to see you come back in here. The FDA said we'll work with you to even help make more trials. So I think 3 to 6 months, you'll see the stock just keep going up from here. So if you're in at $1 or more, look for a dip, buy in if you want to. This is the same stock that we were talking about the other day, KMO. I don't know if you're still chatting down in the. Yeah, you're still here. KMO brought up some good points about this thing. It's they have a product coming out that's for UTIs, and over time, if you take what's the word I'm looking for? Anti-inflammatories and stuff. They eventually your body will start rejecting them. They won't actually do you any good. Not anti-inflammatories. That's the word I'm looking for. But whatever. This product is actually supposed to be able to work for women that have UTIs because it's a major problem. Yeah, antibiotics. There you go. Thanks, guys. But yeah, I think this still has a potential to keep moving up. It might take longer than we expected, 3 to 6 more months, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the trials. But there's no major side effects or anything that was that I could find in the 8K, I believe, is what it's called. So I still think it's a really great play if you guys want to get into a cheap stock. You know, like I said, right now currently trading at 81 cents. They can still have some major catalysts coming forward later on. I don't think that's the only thing that they offer as well. So I need to do more DD on that. My Aunt Cheryl actually bought into the stock, so I do need to do some DD for her. I bought into the stock, but I bought into the stock because of the same reasons I just talked to you now about. But I'm sure there's other things I need to look at. It's just hard to do. Which one is trading at 81 cents? ITRM. ITRM Therapeutics or something like that. Sorry, guys. I've been up since, let's see, what is that? I've been up since 5:30 Mountain Time, and it's now 10:09 Mountain Time, so I'm just kind of tired. Can't think really that well.
Join the club. I have one last question from YouTube, if that's kosher with you, buddy.
I mean, go for it.
You broke up there, so I'm gonna take that as a yes. Let's see. Huddle was asking about liquidity in the S&P 500, which is a requirement for inclusion in the S&P 500. But would GME splitting add any liquidity to the stock? Will liquidity be a problem? GME seems liquid at the moment. I concur. They are liquid. My take on it. My opinion is a split would increase the outstanding shares, obviously decrease the price per share, but essentially their market capitalization would not change. The value of the company would not change. It would just be an adjustment of outstanding shares and price accordingly. But however, one could make the argument that if it does split, it does make shares generally more affordable to smaller investors or retail investors. It makes it an entry price point easier for them, which in kind would make them more attractive, marketable, and add additional liquidity should those smaller or retail investors decide to jump in at that entry point post split, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. Yeah, I mean, how many times I've looked at, like, every time I try to buy either AMC or GME, I look at the prices and it's always like, well, AMC's cheaper, you know, so that's always on my mind, you know, like, there's a reason that I started out in penny stocks, made a bunch of money in penny stocks, but I still keep researching penny stocks because that's what I enjoy doing. I like to find the companies that are, you know, disruptive and have a product that nobody else offers, and I like buying into them. And then when they go up, I like to sell them for money, you know, for profit. So that's why I like pennies, because I can buy more shares, right? Like that's a big deal to me.
And if I recall, when you and I first met, you had made a majority of your initial portfolio trading those alone, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I started my pennies actually not too long ago, back in October of last year. When I started trading pennies. I've got some friends that tell me some ticker symbols. I researched those ticker symbols. I bought into them after I did enough research, and I went all in with those. I had about $8,700, and I turned it into $35,000. Put that $35,000 into AMC with shares and call options. Made a bunch of money off of that. I'm down a bunch of that money in MMAT. So, but it's not like I haven't been down before in penny stocks. I just know what I own. Maybe I could turn this into like a quick like basics about stocks. Do your own due diligence. Know why you buy a stock. Why you bought in at the price you did, and do your DD so you can 100% understand that why you're there and where you want to sell at. Because if you're just buying what people are telling you to buy, you're not doing it right. You have to go do your own DD. You have to understand why you're in it. You're not in it because of the way that I'm in it. You're in it for your own reasons, and you need to figure out why you're in them for those reasons. And you need to be convinced by your research, not by mine, not by anybody else. I mean, I do try to do the best DD I can when I have the opportunity to, but I think that's like my number one thing is like, I don't care if you're buying into Apple or Amazon, whatever reason, you have to understand why you bought into them. Got to do your own research. So that's my number one, like, start off basic training in stocks. Okay. So,
yeah, no, that YouTube is happy with the answer, man. I couldn't agree more myself, actually.
And I mean, obviously, you can always come in here, and I had a place to talk and go over DD with people that I trusted, not people I've met personally by any means, but I built relationships with them, and we could shoot back and forth with DD. And you have to find people that you 100% trust, and that's not easy to find. I think we've got a pretty genuine group of people here. I'm bullish on the BullHouse. So it's always good to pass along ideas to other people and see what they think as well. But ultimately, you're the one buying the buy button. You're the one pressing the buy button. You're the one pressing the sell button. It's all on you.
Absolutely agreed. I mean, that's what brought me here in the first place, was the seemingly independence, none of the confirmation bias, none of the conspiracy tinfoil hat stuff you find. I haven't found any FUD on here. There's been some people that have brought FUD to us, and we've been able to kind of debunk, which has been great. But that's mostly the reason, if not all the reason, I'm here. Well, it's 98%. The other 2% is because Tyson wrote me into MMAT, and I have to keep tabs on that. So But other than that, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't. Kenna invited me. I found her on Twitter Spaces. I asked her if she wanted me to record them because she was going over her. Yeah, we should probably pitch that. Up above, you guys should see a link page. There's a YouTube channel up there. There's our subreddit as well up there. Kenna has done some amazing DDs on historical markets, historical indexes. She's done some great DD on the housing market as well. So if you guys are new, you haven't been there, please check out the YouTube channel. Go check out the Reddit channel of the BullHouse subreddit. There's a lot of good videos in there. Also, we have some interviews that are in there. I can't remember her last name. Leslie Braddock. We interviewed her. We have some more interviews coming up in the future. Dr. Susan Trimbaugh was also interviewed by some of the people here. So it's in the links page at the very top. So if you scroll into where all the channels are, you scroll to the top, you'll see where we're at, or links page or something. Where to find us, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, if you go to the Where to Find Us channel, announcement channel, you guys can see what I am talking about. So go enjoy those videos. Kenna's Infinite Mind Loop, what do you want to call it? Infinite Loop Mind Map, that's what it's called, is amazing. She updates it when she can. I don't know how lately she's updated it, but that thing will blow your mind for sure. Yeah, exactly, blow your mind. And you're always feel free to DM one of us if you guys ever have a question about something. Thanks, KMO, for putting the link in there. I don't know how you did that. But yeah, you guys can always shoot us a DM or a pin us. If you just put an @ and then somebody's name, you'll basically pin us and we'll see it. We're always all lurking and watching. So if you ping us, we'll come in and we'll try and answer any questions or look at whatever else you're looking at. So yeah, we're always here to help any way we can. So with that, I don't think there's any other questions. I think we can call it a night.
I think that's the plan. The only thing I'm going to add, I don't know if we've officially announced for our guest of next week, but we have on Wednesday, stay tuned, we have a pretty good guest interview, and then we've got another one lined up next week. I don't know if ladies released it yet, but if not, we'll be posting the notice over the weekend or by Monday, but definitely stay tuned for Wednesday's interview.
Awesome.
All right, thank you everyone for joining. My apologies about my soundboard failing and technology issues. I assure you it will likely not happen again, but thanks for joining, and we'll catch you next time.